We're on.
We're on.
We're live.
We're live.
We're on. We're live.
We're on. We're live. Facebook Live. Everybody hear us?
Facebook Live. Let's let everybody dial in. I'm going to go onto my Facebook and find you. There you are. And I'm going to share this.
First comment gets some swag.
Sharing it right now.
Share it up.
I am right now. That's on my timeline now, too.
All right.
There we go. And then I want to copy the link. See, this is how you do it when you're trying to share it on Twitter, Nick. I'm going to give you Twitter 101 here, buddy. Okay? You copy the link. Then you go to tweet.
All right.
And
it's
then
easy. I get it.
Right?
Now, what if I sign in on my Facebook here? Will
it's
it
going to
kick me out on there?
No, what's going to happen is when I do this.
So I can sign in on my Facebook?
Yeah, but what you're going to see, okay, what you're going to see on that screen is what we're going on live, except you're going to see a delay of the comments. Like you see somebody just posted a comment there. That's how I read them from there.
There's Sean. That's who I was just talking to.
Yeah, they come up as a delay.
I don't care.
But it's not a big deal.
Dude, I can't remember the last time I was on Facebook on an actual computer.
Really?
So I don't use the computer. I don't own a computer other than my work computer, which I don't go on Facebook on my work computer because obviously I'm a diligent employee. So I go on my phone.
I hear you.
And so I haven't been on Facebook on an actual computer in many years. All right, let me see if I can pull it up here so we can start getting some comments. All right, man, come on. We're getting feedback.
No, I got quiet mode on.
Come on. This is a professional pod.
No more feedback.
We have all these viewers.
Quiet mode. Quiet mode on.
So many viewers right now that you're just not. You haven't even opened up with the official opening of the From the Hill podcast.
See, I don't know. It's not quiet mode for me, so you're gonna have to read the comments.
That's fine.
I don't know.
That's why I'm here.
Yep. You're gonna have to do it.
Can you open up the show in a proper manner?
I'm gonna open the show, bro.
Please.
I'm gonna open the show.
They're waiting.
I want to get my intro music, bro. Come on, God. Man. Look, I got a song picked out for us, buddy.
What do you got?
You ready? This is a great song.
Let's go. What the hell is that thing?
It's a speaker.
That's freaky.
It's awesome.
That's loud.
No, it's not as loud on there. It's only loud in here.
It's very loud here.
Yeah. That's why we got the headphones out.
Open the show.
What is up, everybody?
Oh, greetings and salutations, everybody.
You guys got to listen to us setting up there. That's typically what it's like when we do a show in studio. We're just arguing with each other the whole time. You guys just got to hear it, so it's kind of funny. What's up, everybody?
Salutations.
Nikki, what's up with this weather, bro?
This is the Pacific Northwest. It's what you get when you live in the Pacific Northwest.
This is awful. It ruined your softball plans for today, didn't it?
It did, but, I could use a little rest. It's early in the season. It's a good time to get some rest for your legs after you've been playing three nights a week for the last couple weeks.
You did ask Coach T for a second base day.
I did get a second base day, a resting of the legs. I did do some running that day.
Yeah.
On account of 2 triples.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I also had 2 triples.
So we'll share the stats live.
Although you were making fun of my triples. You said my 1 triple was not legit.
Well, let's just say the defensive alignment that day was a little bit off. And the coaching strategy was questionable at best.
Did I pick on the right fielder?
A little bit. Yeah. A little bit. It was the guy's first day on the job. And you may have picked on him with a what some would call a routine fly ball. And others would call a triple. So, you can make your own judgments.
All that matters is Big Joe put it down as a triple. That's all that matters.
Mr. T is the official scorer of the From the Hill podcast.
By the way, I'm going to be mentioning Big Joe later because something that we talked about later in the show is going to come up. Big Joe had some input for the Phillies. When we get to the Phillies, we get to baseball talk.
We're going to talk baseball.
Yeah, buddy.
Whoa.
It's that time.
Wow.
We're only 2 games away from a quarter through the season, and I like to do a quarter season check, 56 games in. You get actually a feel for the season. Obviously, it's a long season. It's a grind. But it gives you an idea of what's going on.
So Adam wants to talk a little Meghan Markle already.
All right, let's start. You want to start with the royal wedding? Yeah, let's start with the royal wedding. What'd you think of that?
What do you, dude? I did not.
Don't lie to me. You watched it.
I saw pictures on Twitter, and I approve. I approve, Harry.
Yeah.
Well done.
He outkicked his coverage, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, it's easy to do that when her
You're
dress
rich,
alone
Prince.
costs $400,000 from what I've been told.
Yeah. It was.
So when you have that kind of dough, you can outkick your coverage in that way.
She's a very attractive young lady.
She does. Yeah, she does a nice job doing what she does.
So I saw a meme today. It was talking about her going to the Palace from being on Deal or No Deal. So that's a pretty big
Is that
step
where
for
she's
her.
from? I heard she's an actress, but I don't know if Deal or No Deal is that the only thing in her IMDb?
I don't know. I just saw the meme. I didn't really read into her too much, but I just saw that she was on Deal or No Deal. I guess as one of the case girls.
Nice. So, Coach T, what are your thoughts on Meghan Markle? Why don't you share in the comments? But keep it PG. This is a family show.
So while everybody puts up how much they like Meghan Markle, where I actually wanted to start was I want to do a quick branding conversation for everybody out there.
Water. Good brand.
Yeah, Vitamin Water. There you go. Sponsor the show. So for those of you that live in the area, the King of Prussia Acme is closing. And I shared this story last week, but I wanted to bring it to everybody. So I was in there. I was getting lunch, and there's an older gentleman.
Can I call T?
Call T. Go ahead, buddy.
You're getting lunch at Acme?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got fried chicken. It's good stuff. Fried chicken, grilled chicken, 8-piece grilled chicken. It's like $6.
Where is this Acme?
It's right off of 202 in King of Prussia. Well, it doesn't exist
near
anymore.
The vacuum store.
Yeah, well, where the vacuum store used to be.
What is that place now?
That moved now.
There was a giant vacuum outside.
Yeah. That moved to another shopping center.
That was an interesting place. I liked the look of that place. I never went in.
The giant vacuum out front.
No, I never got my vacuum.
That's some sort of I think audio equipment store now, maybe.
Cool.
I can't remember correctly.
All right, so that's where it's at.
Yeah, well, that's where now it's gone because it's closing. So I'm in there, and the shelves are barren because the store's closing, right? And they're not restocking it.
Good descriptive word.
It looks like a zombie apocalypse, right? You go to the stores and all the shelves are empty and shit's all flying all over the place.
Everything's expired.
Yeah, it kind of looks like that. So I'm in line, and this nice older gentleman is in front of me, and he's got 4 ham steaks. You know what a ham steak is.
Now, how old are we talking?
He's probably in his late 60s. Little fella.
I didn't know what a ham steak was, but you did explain to me what a ham steak was when we talked about what we're going to talk about.
Yeah. So apparently in the newspaper that they put out for coupons, it was buy one, get one ham steaks. So he was getting 2. He wanted 2 for free.
Expired ham steaks with expired coupons.
Right. But they weren't honoring it because they're closing the store. So literally he goes, so wait, I can't get these for buy one, get one. They're like, no, we're not honoring any coupons. So his first response, he's very upset now. Okay. He doesn't know what to do himself.
Yeah.
So his first response is, well, you know what? I don't think I'm ever going to come back to this store again. As such, the cashier responds, well, we're closing. So
well, the cashier said, well, me either.
Yeah, me either. I'm out of here too.
I quit.
Yeah. So then the manager comes over because this is hauled up the line, right? Because this is the express line. There's a bunch of people behind us.
Yeah.
And she's pointing to the other place, oh, I'll take you at this register. And he turns to her and he's like, wait, I can't use my coupons. And she goes, nope, and just walks away. Doesn't give him a big explanation. She's just like, nope. And so then he proceeds to say, you know what? I'm never reading those newspapers again. As a matter of fact, I'm never coming to Acme again, ever.
So no one else has read a newspaper. No one's read a newspaper for at least 2 years now.
He's an old guy.
Yeah, that's interesting. So did he end up
he left everything,
just punting the ham steaks down the
not only
down the produce aisle?
He tossed the ham steaks. He didn't buy anything else he had with him, and he stormed out of the place. But there's a lesson to be learned here. This is where I wanted to go with this, and this is an important thing for branding. What Acme needs to realize, because Acme obviously is not going out of business. It's just one store, right? They need to realize that when they're going to have a store closing like that, you need to bring people in to control that type of thing. Because if it's just that one guy, I can't imagine the amount of people that left there so angry, and they'll never go to another Acme again in their life. You're losing customers, and it's that brand loyalty.
I disagree. I think it was a strategic closing, and I think that Acme knows where they're so people from the King of Prussia, Bridgeport area, where else can they go?
Giant.
Where's that?
That's now the vacuum store is now right next to Giant. They moved from Acme to Giant.
Well, maybe Giant already chased them out of business.
Yeah, there's Giant.
Acme's are closing everywhere.
There's a Wegmans on the other side of King of Prussia.
Just shutting it down. The man is just shutting down the little guy. Acme.
Yeah. Whole Foods is coming in, bro. They're taking everybody out of business.
Jeff, it's our buddy Jeff.
Mm-hmm. So it actually took me to where I want to go with brand loyalty. You know what the 2 strongest brands are that have the most brand loyalty across consumer everywhere? There's 2 of them always. Number 1 and 2 always.
Wait, give me a hint. What area?
So it's a very recognizable logo, and they can do no wrong. Their brand loyalty is akin to that of a cult. Some people put the stickers on the back of their cars for no reason. And I'll give you a hint. The symbol's a fruit.
The symbol's a fruit. Apple.
That's right. Apple's brand loyalty is unmatched. Literally.
And then what's the second one? Is it Nike?
That's a good one, but no, because they have strong brand loyalty, but not like this one. This one is in the motor vehicle realm, but it's not exactly a car. They don't make cars, right? But you'll see people put this stuff all over their cars.
Vespa.
It's Harley Davidson. Harley Davidson
fair.
is always second because they can never do any wrong, right? People's brand loyalty to
There's
Harley Davidson.
There's really no competition there.
Well, I mean, there's plenty of other motorcycle manufacturers,
Yeah,
but
but
Harley Davidson's brand loyalty is so strong.
They're a monopoly.
Right.
Crushing
It's because of their brand loyalty. Same thing with Apple.
And From the Hill, also, there's stickers on the back of the cars.
So this is fourth right here.
We have great brand loyalty.
Yes.
All right, so we have a Wawa versus Sheets argument that's posted by Alex Gio. Alex is spelled with a Y. And like this isn't even a discussion.
So
especially given that we are in the Pacific Northwest, everyone knows that Wawa dominates the Pacific Northwest.
So does he like Sheets better? Is that what he's saying?
I don't know. I wouldn't post that on there. You don't want people knowing that.
Yeah, I mean, we're not from upstate Pennsylvania here, buddy.
Yeah, come on.
I need to be going to softball tournaments up there, bro, but you gotta stay away from Sheets.
Yeah, the only Sheets I've been to is up near Reading, and it's akin to the Bridgeport Wawa in that it's.
Well, choose your next statement. You better be careful talking about Bridgeport Wawa, buddy.
It's interesting.
All right.
So Alex confirms Wawa for life, and he has also confirmed that life is spelled with a Y.
With a Y.
Everything's spelled with a Y.
Smart man.
Yes.
Smart man. So next thing I wanted to talk about, which is pretty cool. We were talking last week about generic terms that you use for a proper name, right?
We were. It was thrown around the friend thread.
Right.
There's a couple good ones out there.
I want you to start. Give me your favorite, and then your one you go to the derogatory term, like if you're trying to hit somebody with a stinger.
So I do have a favorite, and it's near and dear to me. I use it all the time, but I use it. It's kind of it's a term of endearment.
Right.
So the one that I use personally, and some of you may have heard me use it before, is Holmes. and this is very important. It's not Holmes. It's Holmes. You have to put the L in there. So I say, yo, what's up, Holmes?
What's up, Holmes?
Yo, Holmes, back up.
Home slice.
So you can use it in many different ways. The derogatory one for me is bud.
Bud?
Yo, watch out, bud. Yo, easy, bud.
Easy, bud.
Those are my two go-tos.
Okay, I like that. So, and when you do the Holmes, it's kind of like the bull with an H,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. What's up, bull?
What's up, bull?
What's up? Yeah.
Like bull with an H. So
I use bull with an H, but there is some debate with my Delco faction of friends that bull is with two L's.
Two L's, no.
And I've never agreed. So I'm fighting the good fight.
Yeah.
On that front.
The official FTH take is it's BUHL.
Joey Yanuzzi just joined, so he might be able to join the bull. Yeah, he can maybe speak to that.
We'll let him
chime
in on that
for the viewers at home reading the comments.
So I wanted to give you my two. So my favorite is boss. Just the term of endearment, call everybody boss.
I hate that one.
I love boss. You call people boss, and actually. I talked a lot about that Andre the Giant special that I loved. I thought was very interesting.
I still haven't gotten to that yet.
It's very well done. But he called everybody boss too. And he had that like really weird French accent / gigantor language. So he'd be like, oh, okay, boss. It's okay, boss. I can't do his voice.
What's your second best impression?
So my go-to stinger, if I'm going to hit somebody hard, is Chief.
Yeah.
The Chief, Chief is always derogatory, right?
It is. It's to me, Chief is kind of played out.
Chief is always a good shot. Like, okay, sorry, Chief. Yeah, sure, Chief.
You hit somebody with a bud, that's like you're talking down to them.
Yeah, but people say bud all the time. Like you could think, hey, what's up,
but
bud?
it's a total power play.
Really?
It's a total power play, and you don't even know it.
I call people bud all the time.
Yeah, but if somebody overhears that, they know I have power over you.
Why? Because I call them bud?
Yeah, it's like the handshake when you grab the elbow, you have power.
Yeah.
Automatic.
The old forearm to forearm?
Exactly. You have power. It's a power play. Check it. Watch it on the political front. Check the handshakes.
So
it's a very strategic power play.
There's some that came in and we had in the running that we threw out, right, that I mowed down. So we got boss, buddy, dude. How about guy? Hey there, guy. What's up, guy?
Hey, guy. I feel like that's a New York thing.
It's kind of a neutral thing, though, right? Like just, yo, guy. Hey, I'm gonna go see the guy.
Yeah.
Guy? That's the guy.
It's a very Queensy thing.
Yeah, bro.
Doug from King of Queens used to say guy all the time.
Yeah, guy. You got bro.
So all my knowledge of Queens is based off of
that show
of Doug Heffernan.
I gotcha.
That's all I know.
I got you. Never been to Queens.
No.
Okay.
I actually no. I have. I visited. I think St. John's is in Queens.
I think it is.
I did a visit there.
Okay.
I didn't go.
Queens, where Brooklyn at? So I throw out bro. You got bro. Bro's a neutral one, right? You call everybody bro.
Yeah.
What's up, bro? Bro. I threw in some foreign ones too, like, hey, mate, that's my mate. Who's my mate?
Yeah.
Or bloke.
That's more colloquial.
Yeah, or bloke.
Certainly.
Hey, old bloke. And then sport. We were throwing that one around. Hey,
yeah,
sport.
That's an elderly term.
That is. And that's sort of for a youngster, right? And then champ.
Kiddo.
Yeah.
Champ.
Yeah,
I'm sticking with my Holmes and my Bud.
Holmes and Bud.
Yeah,
it's good. Let us know what you guys think. What do you like to call people? Sometimes you do it by accident. Like Gargano got that nickname calling everybody Cuz because he's just yo Cuz. What's up, Cuz?
He calls everybody Mo.
He does.
And that's an interesting one.
It is an interesting one.
That might be a South Philly thing.
Yeah, I've never heard that before. Only him.
Yeah.
The Cuz thing I heard all the time.
Yeah, right? So put in the comments. Cuz. What is your go-to? What would you call that?
Yeah.
What would you call that?
I call it the synonym for a proper name.
Okay.
Yeah. That one.
All right.
Maybe it's acronym. I don't know. Maybe
so what's going on in the world of sports?
Here we go. Sports betting. We're going to lead. This is the big lead. So this week in sports, this is monumental. And I don't know how much people actually understand how monumental this is. But I did want to break this down for everybody because I also don't think people really understand what happened. So this week, the Supreme Court, in a 7-2 ruling, ruled in favor of sports betting. But what does that mean exactly, right? What does it mean to get ruled in favor of sports betting? So what actually had happened, the reason that you couldn't bet on sports in this country is because there was a federal gambling statute that would put in place that say that states cannot allow sports betting on sports legally, okay? There was only one place, obviously, that was Las Vegas, and then I believe Delaware had it passed, but it could only be on those little tickets. It was like a real special type of thing. So
yeah, Delaware Park. Have you ever done the Delaware Park?
I haven't. The ticket, the 10.
Yeah, you can go down there. Yeah, you can go down there and do the tickets. We used to do that all the time.
Yeah, I've not done
but it's a little bit of a drive.
It is. So Jersey actually is who won this Supreme Court battle. So they took it to the Supreme Court, and it was ruled that that statute violated the 10th Amendment. Okay, essentially meaning that it's now cannot be enforced anymore. So then they won. Big deal, right? The next question that comes up is, well, so is sports gambling legal right now? And the answer is no. Yet. And the reason is now, what this does is this allows states to set up their own policies on how they want to handle sports gambling. So Jersey, Pennsylvania, California, Texas, they can put in their own rules and regulations surrounding sports gambling where you can do it at.
It's the same thing with anything else. The states can, right now, they can make their own rules and laws regarding drinking and smoking and all that stuff as well.
Correct. But what would be the problem? So actually, you bring up a good point. Let me ask you this. What would be, let me ask you this scenario, right? Let's say, because Jersey was one of the last states to adopt 21 for the drinking age.
Yeah.
What would be the consequences if Jersey were to say, you know what, we want to let people that are under 21 drink. We want to go to 18.
The feds can hold back federal grant money if they don't agree with the...
That's correct. They can hold back federal money if they're not applying.
I don't know if it's grant money, but if there's some kind of federal
right,
fund that
federal
they can hold back.
They hold back if the states do not apply with federal regulations.
So they say, you don't want to listen to us? All right, well, you can't fix any of your roads.
Right. You get no federal money whatsoever.
Yeah.
Screw you, Jersey. You get bombed, you don't get the army. Stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So now these states now can control their own destiny.
Poli-sci.
Yeah.
I took poli-sci.
That was pretty good. Yeah. I was impressed you knew that.
Poli-sci minor.
I didn't prep him for that, by the way.
Nah.
He just knew it.
I know.
So now states are allowed to make their own gambling rules, and we're going to see what happens now because this is big shit. Like, this is a big deal.
I think that you think it's a little bigger than it's going to be.
So you don't think this is a big deal?
I don't think it is. So just listening to some of the rhetoric that's gone around this week about it, people have been calling into stations across the country and saying people are going to lose their homes. They're going to get addicted to gambling, and people are. If you're going to do that, if you're going to start that, you've already begun that process. And it's not like you weren't able to gamble before. You can find anybody that can link you up to somebody if you really want to gamble that much. This might open the door a little bit, but I really think it's going to open the door for guys that, Super Bowl Sunday want to put in a $20 bet. Hey, Ted, I put the $20 on It's just something fun to open the door up. I don't think it's going to cause any problems. I don't think the city is going to turn to, Gotham, and it's going to be like, do you know what I mean?
God, I like the analogy, like Gotham, like the scarecrow spreading his gas everywhere.
It's like completely taken over by like degenerate gamblers and like criminal masterminds.
I mean, I feel like this country's already run by degenerate gamblers and criminal masterminds, so it won't make a big difference.
If people are going to bet, and they've already been betting.
So I agree with that. What I think the changes are going to be, right, and I'll give you an example where I think this will apply. So You see like those Buffalo Wild Wing commercials, like those stupid commercials where guys are sitting there watching the games. I can see those commercials now being like the guys changing the rooting, like, oh man, I need this -8.5. Like, this guy's sitting there because they put $20 on it in a machine at Buffalo Wild Wings.
What'll be interesting is if bars and restaurants and stuff like that can start actually taking bets.
That's what I'm saying. That's the interesting part. Like, where are they going to regulate this? So it's going to be statewide. I think here in Pennsylvania, we're going to have problems because of the way Pennsylvania regulates itself. For instance, you can still really only buy beer and liquor at beer and liquor stores. Some supermarkets can sell it limited.
Yeah.
But like if you go down to North Carolina, you can buy it in a gas station.
Yeah.
Like, you can get it anywhere. But
I mean, not even that. I mean, you can go to Maryland. You can go to, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
You might be able to do it in Jersey.
I don't think you can in Jersey.
Not yet?
No, I don't think so. But Jersey grocery stores certainly. And just the entirety of the fact that every state's different. But I do think that a lot of the more progressive states are going to come up right away and hit this hard because they want to get that revenue in. They want to see people placing bets with them, which goes to the next point. How do you think this affects your local bookmakers?
Well, who cares? I mean, this is the argument for, this is the same argument for marijuana. I mean, it really translates, I think, because you have this kind of underworld that's going on, and something that they've been trying to take out of the country for a while.
Your illegal drug dealers?
Drug dealers and, bookies and stuff like that. What effect does it have if you legalize and regulate it? I mean, if it's all out in the open, you don't have to worry about breaking the law. You don't have to have these black markets for things where you have people tied up in prisons and stuff like that, wasting taxpayers' money. Now that's all out in the open. It's all regulated. So not only do you have, all this stuff out in the open, but you also have a surplus. So you're making money on this stuff.
You're generating tax dollars from it.
So I think it'd have the opposite effect of Gotham City. I think it actually helps growth within cities and within states and stuff like that.
Because you're capitalizing on this type of revenue. I'll tell you what I think about it on the bookie side, and I sort of shared this before, but I don't think it has any effect whatsoever, and I'll tell you why. And I don't think bookies go anywhere because, at least for me, or I think 90% of people that place bets now, the big differentiator between a bookkeeper and, let's say, a book, like an actual book, like a casino book, is that when you walk up to a casino book, you need to have your money in hand, $100 to place a $100 bet to get a ticket.
That's true.
But when I text my bookie, I don't have to give him shit. I just have to text him, yo, I want 100, and you don't have to give the money up front.
Yeah, it's based on good faith.
And that's why people get so hooked into betting with bookies, because they run up these huge tabs, but it's like almost fake money.
Yeah,
like, and you don't have to actually put money up to place these bets.
That's the other thing that I didn't mention when I said that people were calling up and saying that, oh, everybody's gonna, you're gonna addicted to gambling and stuff like that. You're gonna lose your house. Well, yeah, the casino is not taking the deed of your house.
Right. They can't take money you don't have.
Yeah, so you have to go up there. So that's a good point. You have to go up there with cash in hand. So it's not, can you lose a lot of money?
Yes,
sure, and people will.
But you have to have the money.
People will. But, what's the difference between that and a blackjack dealer?
Nothing.
What's the difference between that and playing poker or playing craps or whatever? It's the same thing.
Same thing.
So, so you play some wagers, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
So will this affect your personal relationship with your bookie?
No, I mean, it won't, like I said, because for me, right, if I want to gamble, I say this all the time, if I want to gamble, I drive 10 minutes to Valley Forge Casino, actually probably 8. I can hit it with a rock from here. But I'm not going to drive over there Sunday morning if I want to bet on NFL, because I can just text my bookkeeper. Like, what? Why would I? I have no reason to go do that when it's so convenient. Now, the thing is, if they come out with websites like they do in Jersey where you can gamble online and you can bet sports online, that may turn things different, right?
Yeah, so I've never tried that stuff, but I have seen the commercials for it.
Right.
Have you tried that out, like online?
Well, because I don't live in Jersey.
So you have to be in Jersey? Like, you can't just go online and do it?
No, you can't.
What do you have to do? How do you present where you live?
I think it's geo-located, so if you try and log in from Pennsylvania, it's not going to work because you're sitting in. They're going to.
So what if you drive across the bridge?
Yeah, when you leave, I think it shuts down.
Interesting.
Or you wouldn't be able to get paid out. I also think when you sign up for those, you have to prove you're a Jersey resident. It's not that like you can be in Jersey to do. I think you have to be a Jersey resident.
Very well.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's it's an interesting debate. I think there's a lot more to come on that, and we'll see. The big shoe to drop is going to be how do NFL owners get involved in this, right? Because I think that they are going to want to be able to capitalize on this since it's their product. Can you imagine going to the link and then there's a booth where you can go bet on the Eagles?
there has to be. Well, that's where you separate the league from this regulation. So I don't think they can be involved, because then that's when you have to start investigating players and point shaving and things like that. Which all that stuff is, if it's going to be done, like we mentioned, it's probably being done already. But you have to separate kind of the teams from that. Well, they should have no involvement.
There's a couple things that are floating under the radar here that I wanted to bring up before we move on. So the first is that the NBA owners have already said that they want a 1% cut of all NBA profits, betting from NBA profits, that the government takes in or states take in, because it's their product. So that's going to be a fight, because essentially if they don't play, then that doesn't exist, right? There's no media for NBA betting if they don't run the games, and they're paying to host the venues, right? But then generating this free revenue. Second piece, which is even more under the radar, which I don't think anybody's talking about yet, is the NCAA side of this.
That's what I was just going to ask you. Is it open up to that?
Right. And because right now, remember, the NCAA won't hold its tournaments where they have states that allow gambling. So that like the NCAA won't go to Vegas for tournaments. They pulled out North Carolina before, right? They won't hold events in states that allow illegal gambling on sports, because they're trying not to have that corruption. So how's that going to work now? What if like 30 states by the time the tournament comes around next year allow sports betting?
I think if the states are smart, they all move that way. I mean, if they're not going to get hit by the federal government for any reason, I don't see why all of them wouldn't move that way, because they're going to be taking money in. It's interesting to see, especially with the NCAA thing, because I think there's a lot. I don't know this factually, but I think there's a lot more going on in college for betting. Is there?
So do I. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Would you say? I mean, there's more games. So there's obviously more.
The event that's gambled on the most in America is not the Super Bowl. It's the NCAA tournament. Every single person that runs a bracket where you bet on it, right? Or that is by far, to me, the most gambled on event, and yet the most heavily regulated. So it's the unstoppable force meets the immovable object, right? Like, what's going to give there if all these states go ahead and legalize gambling?
Yeah, it's interesting. But, like I said, I really don't think you're going to see that big of a change. I mean, it's just going to be, you can drive somewhere and put the bet in, or you can call it the same guy you've been calling for 10 years and keep doing your thing. But, I think it does eliminate that underworld.
I don't think it eliminates it at all, but we'll disagree on that.
It puts a dent in it.
Puts a dent in it for sure. I agree with that.
So interesting.
Good conversation. I hope we educated you guys about the actuality of the rules too, because a lot of people don't understand. They were asking me this week, like,
you come here for your politics.
Yeah.
Come here for your.
This is education.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on. Let's get hardcore sports. Let's start in the NBA.
Yes.
Let's start in the NBA playoffs. Let's start in the East. And let me get your reaction right away, Nick, when I say Celtics up 2-0 on the Cavs.
Not worried. I'm not worried about LeBron. They haven't played a home game yet.
The series hasn't started yet.
The series hasn't started yet. I really think that LeBron is he's completely fine. He's done this before. I think he did it in 2007 when he started down 2-0 against who was it? In 2007, they went down early. I forget who it was, but they came back, won 4 straight. He did it again in 2013, 2012 against the Thunder. They went down 2.
They did. They did.
Is that true?
Yeah, and the Thunder should have won that series.
Maybe I'm making that up.
That was the beginning of the end for KD and Russ.
Maybe I'm making that up. Maybe it was the Thunder that came back.
Maybe.
I was listening to
I still think
about it this morning.
The Thunder should have won that series.
But no, I am not going to overlook LeBron in this series, because he is the end all be all with the Cavs, and I understand that he put up a crazy game on, what was it, Wednesday?
Yeah.
So he put up a great game. Would he have like 42 points or something
Triple
like that?
Triple-double.
But the king of pacing did not pace himself in that game.
No, he didn't.
He came out ready to go.
Well, and that shot to the head didn't help.
No, but, it is what it is. Those things happen in the game, but you still have to play. You have to play all 4 quarters. And I think he played, what was it? He played about 3.5 quarters. And then the fourth quarter,
fourth quarter.
He slowed down a little bit in that fourth quarter, right?
Yeah.
But there were, again, and it's happened game in, game out with the Cavs this year. If somebody can provide 20, 25 points to help him out a little bit, they're a dangerous team. And we just haven't seen that guy. Kevin Love had a good game. What do you have, like 20 or something like that?
Kevin Love played well, but nobody else did.
But nobody stepped up.
That was it.
It's really just a bad team.
I'll tell you what.
They are just a bad team, but I'm really not looking. I'm not going I'm not going to say LeBron's done in this
so
series.
Let me ask you this, because this is what struck me about the first 2 games in this series, and it goes back to the defensive side of the ball, because we talked about this. The Cavs are not a good defensive team, right? You brought it up. They're not. The thing that blows my mind is they brought all these guys in. They brought in Nance, Clarkson, Hill, and Green, right? A bunch of younger guys mid-season for that youth, for their defense, for their athleticism, but they're not playing. Did you see that? They're not playing. Those guys aren't playing. They're doing it with the same old guys. J.R. Smith, Thompson, Korver. It's the same old guys out there. Well, you're going to get the same result.
What does that speak to? It speaks to 2 things. I think you mentioned the youth and how young these guys are, and they may not be ready. So maybe Ty Lue's looking at that and saying these guys aren't ready for this type of stage, especially in Boston. And it's a tough place to play. I mean, face it, it's just a tough place to play.
It is.
So for young guys to get in, so either it's Ty Lue doing a good job and looking out for his players, or it's Ty Lue doing a horrendous job and not making the rotation changes that he's supposed to, which I'm leaning more towards
because
that.
I could say the same thing about Boston. They've got a bunch of young guys. Why are they ready for the stage? And the Cavs young guys are not.
Again,
because Brad Stevens is a great coach and Ty Lue is an average coach at best.
So you can say that, but also they're playing at home in a friendly environment for them. So let's see what those guys do when they go on the road.
Okay.
Because we didn't see this aspect in the Sixers series because it was 2 young teams going after each other.
Very true.
And the home road thing didn't really come into effect. I mean, I'm going to be interested to see how they come into Cleveland and play.
Because
it's going to be the first time. It's going to be the first time that they're facing a somewhat seasoned team with some veterans on it.
Oh, sure.
I mean, even the
Celtics are a good mix.
Even when they played the Bucks,
Bucks are young.
They're younger. But like they went from a young team. It's 2 young teams playing in the second round. 2 young teams playing when they played the Sixers, and now they're seeing guys that have been there before. Well, so let's see what they do on the road.
So to that point, do you think the Cavs young guys get more time at home because maybe they're more comfortable at home than on the road?
Yeah, and that's what I was saying.
Yeah,
that's what I was saying. If Ty Lue has a brain in his head, put him in now. When guys need breathers, guys like JR and Korver's not playing any defense at all.
No,
he's in there to hawk up threes whenever. Right. I mean, somebody has to step up, and it has to be one of these veteran guys.
I agree. I mean, I think first off, it can't be LeBron and Kevin Love, and that's it. And we've said that all year, right? Those 2 guys are not going to win you a series. They're not going to do it. You need other guys to step up. My thing is when I look at the roster, right? When I look at J.R. Smith, he's just a streaky shooter who's maybe an average defender. I know he tries on defense, but he's getting up there. Why would you not let Clarkson play? He's more athletic. He's younger. He's faster. I thought Hill was a baller. What's up with these guys? Larry Nance is a big kid. They're getting killed on the glass. He can't get any time.
I honestly, and this goes back to Ty Lue, I really don't think that they have a offensive, at this point, defensive strategy at all. I think it's just let's get down the court and see what LeBron wants to draw up on the fly.
Right.
Everybody clear out this way, and let's see what LeBron is he going to shoot a jumper? Is he going to drive? Is he going to shoot a jumper? Or is he going to drive?
If Korver and Love and J.R. Smith can't hit their open threes, then their offense is nothing. Right. And the game 2 in the second half, they shot like absolute garbage, and the Celtics did not. By the way, when you look at the defense, because obviously, I love defense efficiency. The Celtics are the second defensive efficient team in the NBA, and the Cavs are 27th. The Celtics got a ton of open threes, right? They got a ton of open looks, and all the Celtics the Cavs defense against the Celtics, they're getting open threes, but the Celtics are getting open looks against the Cavs. So, you can't have it. You can't. If the Cavs are shooting contested threes and the Celtics are shooting uncontested threes, who do you think is going to make more? The Celtics.
Yeah, I think what it really comes down to is LeBron is the only guy on the floor that is allowed to pace himself. And all the guys on the floor for the Cavs are looking at LeBron like, oh, he takes a couple, he takes a play off here and there. Well, guys, there's a reason LeBron's taking a play off because he's carrying your whole team. So he needs a breather in between. And these guys are trying to do the same thing, pace themselves. Listen, J.R. Smith, we don't need you in for 48 minutes.
No.
Kevin Love, we don't even need you in
for. You kind of need him in there to rebound.
We need you in for 30 plus.
He's got to play 35
minutes.
Yeah.
But we don't don't pace yourself, bud. Don't hold back. Okay. We need you to go all out. And I've said it a million times. Defense is an energy thing. It's a heart thing.
Yes.
It's a
totally agree.
It's a complete effort.
Want to do it.
It's a complete effort thing. So when you see them completely coasting on defense, there's just no drive there. That's where the young guys may be able to pitch in at home.
That's what I mean. And look at the Celtics on the other end. They play such tenacious defense all the time, right? I wanted to bring up a guy who, it's funny to me. So I watch the games and I'm seeing him make threes, right? And I constantly repeated myself.
Oh, can I say?
Yeah.
Is it Baines?
No, not him.
Why is he shooting threes?
I don't know.
He's making them.
He is, but this is the crazy thing. I'm going to give you guys' name and you tell me if you think he's shooting well in the playoffs.
Go ahead.
Marcus Smart.
I don't necessarily think shooting well.
I see him making threes, right? And I'm like, why is this guy making threes? He's a horrible 3-point shooter. So I know
is he shooting well?
Well, I got the stats.
Go ahead.
That's what I'm gonna ask you. Do you think he is or not?
Drop it.
Here you go. Ready?
Drop it.
So
I don't think so. Personally.
For his career, he's a 29% 3-point shooter. That's bad. Okay, it's really bad in the NBA. This season, he improved slightly up to 30%. He still stinks. He's a bad 3-point shooter. Always has been. In my head, because I watched the Sixers series and I watched both the Cavs games and I see him making some threes. I'm like, wait, is Marcus Smart like improving his shot? He's shooting 22%
from the playoffs.
Yeah, 22% from the three in the playoffs. Let the guy shoot.
Well, guess who is their most efficient 3-point shooter?
I believe. I know Rozier's shooting it like.
I'm going to give you a hint. I just mentioned him 30 seconds ago.
That guy, Baines?
Yeah, dude.
God.
This guy's throwing up 3 balls. He's like a big 7-footer.
I know.
And he's shooting like Kevin Durant.
Doesn't Boston always have some
It's so annoying.
Oafy white guy? Like last year it was Kelly Olynyk, and now it's
Brian Scalabrine.
They always have one of these guys, and it annoys me so much.
Yeah. They are just shooting well, man. And Jaylen Brown is kind of he was turning up. I don't know how he did in game 2.
Rozier played really well in game 2.
The way that they came out in game 1, they were all shooting pretty well.
They came out hot game 1. Game 2, they struggled in the first half, but then the second half, they obviously turned it around pretty quickly and shot the lights out in the second half, and they're up 2-0. So, yeah, to your point, that game 3 is tonight. We'll see what happens.
Yes.
Cavs Celtics. I didn't check the line yet. I actually should have because
maybe I could take a look.
If you're betting and you're a betting man, you'd have to think that the Cavs have got to win this game, right? I mean, I don't see any other
I'm going to say Cavs are a favorite.
Yeah, they would probably be like a 5 or 6 point favorite, I would think, at home. All right, so I'll take a look. Yeah, while he checks on that line, let's move over to the other series, which is I think the one we've all been waiting to see, and so far it's lived up, right? It's the Rockets and the Warriors in the West, and that series is tied at 1-1. It's really been a tale of 2 games to me for that. And it's the odd thing about it is, to me, it's been the way the Rockets played that have dictated the 2 games, not the Warriors. And I'll sort of tell you why. So game 1, they got blown off the court, and it was because the Rockets were playing a lot of that ISO ball. Like James Harden just hold the ball in his hand forever.
Let me call it to you. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Cleveland -6.
What'd I say? -5 or -6. I told you, bro. I told you.
That's a big one.
Big favorites.
Yeah, that's a Cleveland line.
See how good I am at predicting these lines?
That's a Cleveland line.
That was on air. I told you. -5 or -6. I called it.
Good job, buddy.
Yeah. So Harden's just holding the ball till late in the shot clock and then throwing up a bad shot, and the Warriors just run him out of town. But then game 2, they go full adjustment. They're shooting quickly. They're moving the ball around, and Eric Gordon shot the lights out. They're shooting well. The whole team is, and the Rockets end up beating the Warriors. So now we got a series. It
was Freaky Friday.
Yeah, it was.
It was Freaky Wednesday.
Yeah, it was
Tuesday.
Rockets look like the Warriors.
It was a complete swap. So the Rockets became the Warriors, and the Warriors became the Hawks. It was unbelievable. So everybody, tell me, the Warriors looked so slow on defense.
Yeah, they did.
And the Rockets were actually moving the ball so well that they were finding open guys, and there was no Warriors in sight.
You know what I love about this, and I have a lot of notes about this. And let me start by saying, I do think Steph Curry still looks a little hurt, so he's not moving the way he did. But you see how they're attacking him on defense. To your point, the reason somebody's always open is because every time they're running a high screen and roll, and they get a switch on Steph, and whoever has the ball attacks him. And Steph is not a bad defender, but he's small. And they're going after him every possession. I mean, literally, they went at him. Whoever had the ball, D'Antoni just said, if you have Steph on you, attack. Well, here's another take on Steph that everybody's coming up with is that he only had 16 points. He played slow. He looked slow. He wasn't shooting well. And now everybody's saying he's hurt.
his knee's still messed
up.
up.
I don't think he's hurt. I think he's just not 100% coming back off that injury yet. And then, of course, with that comes a little bit of conditioning. But what I think the problem is for him, we just talked about this in the last year.
But it's such a convenient narrative. Is that, since the guy had a bad game, they played defense on him well, he didn't shoot well. Okay, he must be hurt.
Right?
Why?
No. Look, if he's out there, if he's on the floor, then he's playing. He's not too hurt to play, so he's out there. I mean, Chris Paul is hobbling around with his Achilles last game, still playing and contributing. So I don't want the injury is not a huge excuse to me. You shouldn't be able to use it. What I think is happening is we just talked about this with LeBron in the last series, whereas he has to take some defensive possessions off because he's exerting so much energy on offense. They're attacking Steph so hard on the defensive end that it's affecting his offense, and it's a great strategy. And by the way, on offense, they're running at Steph. They've said, we know Durant's going to get his. We know Clay will get his.
And Durant's unbelievable.
He's so good. You can't. I mean, how could you defend him anyway? Because he's 6'11", and you get shot off whenever he wants. So they just say, you know what? Durant's going to get whatever he wants. Clay's going to get his open shots, but we're gonna run at Steph. We're going to double Steph, and we're going to attack him on both ends. And it worked in game 2 to a T because Steph looked like a non-factor.
Yeah, and again, let's see if they can continue this on the road. Because we know Golden State is not a great place to play.
No, it's not.
I don't know if either of these teams lost more than like 2 in a row the whole season.
I doubt it.
I know the Rockets haven't. I don't think they've lost more than one game.
Yeah, I doubt it
at a time the entire season.
No.
So
I mean, you don't get to 60-some wins that way.
But if they can continue to move the ball the way they did and have guys wide open in places and have open shots, guys like Tucker, PJ Tucker having 27 points.
That's their offense. When you look at guys they have on the floor. Like we just talked about Gordon, Ariza, Tucker. These guys can make these open threes, and that's their offense is built to generate that. You let Paul and you let Harden ball handle, generate this, and these guys spread and get open, and that's what their offense is. Chuck up a bunch of threes.
So my question is, do you think that James Harden allows this style of play to continue, or do you think that he wants to go get his enough to kind of pull the team back?
It's a good question. It's sort of his curse, right? Because if he does and handles the ball too much and doesn't distribute it enough, I think the Rockets will quickly fold again. So,
personally, I don't think that I think that he will go back to his ISO ball and try to get his and try to be the man.
So if you were looking for,
I don't think they can sustain what they did in the other night.
So
I really don't.
Well, I think the Warriors are going to win this series. I said in 6. I don't think it goes further than that. I don't see the Rockets get more than 2. And I agree with you. I think that if they can play that perfect type of game and hold Steph down, they can beat them. But I just can't see them doing that more than maybe twice.
And they play what, tomorrow night?
I believe it's tomorrow night. Yeah.
Chris Paul needs to talk to Harden and say, yo, we need to continue what we were doing. Because Chris Paul, he didn't have many points in the game, but he ran that offense.
And he played very well.
There was that one play that he had that was like that fast break where he did the fake pass, had the guy move. That was a pretty sweet move.
Awesome.
Had hit Tucker on the corner. And like you said, those wide open shots. They have guys on that team that can make those shots, and they've been doing it all year.
Yeah, they
have. I don't want
to
to make that seem like I was like throwing shade at Harden.
No,
but
you're not.
It's just the way that he's unbelievable.
Yeah, and he did it in game 1 to them. I mean, it's just clear he did it.
Even the shots that he made in game 2 were heavily contested, and he's just unbelievable.
Yeah, that's what he does. He's so good on offense. And it's funny you bring up Chris Paul that way with the ball handling, because Chris Paul was Kyrie before Kyrie. People don't remember.
Oh,
he was that. He was that crazy.
He is the savvy vet.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's another savvy vet that I would rather have
like CP.
I mean, he can do it, man. I mean, he sets up that offense and he controls the pace of the game. And like you were saying, what they did during that game is they would get the ball in, they would almost hurry it across half court so that they can get the offense set up.
Tempo. They want more shots. They want more possessions. It's the math.
So when
they're playing their best.
When Paul has the ball, or even if Harden's bringing the ball up and they get the ball across half court quickly, they have time to set that offense up, move guys around, move the ball, and they have time to work with. Whereas before they were lazy getting it up, holding on to the ball, let the defense settle.
Yep.
The defense was moving with the ball. Then, oh crap, there's 2 seconds on the shot clock.
Right.
Let's throw behind our back.
Chuck up a bad percentage shot.
Exactly.
Yep.
So if they can stick with that, now it's going to be interesting to see what kind of moves Kerr is going to make to counter that, and see what type of defense he can set up to. I mean, because they looked defeated.
Yes,
the entire game.
They did not look good. I mean, they weren't playing well offensively too, which always hurts the Warriors, because the Warriors also like to play up pace, and when they're not shooting well, they don't look great. the thing about them is, though, they're such great shooters.
And here's the scary part is that they had 2-3 guys that just had off nights, and they don't have off nights more than once in a row.
That's what I'm saying.
So be ready for them to go off, especially at home.
Yeah, when I looked up shooting percentage for the season, the Golden State's obviously number 1 in the league, and they're 3 percentage points higher than the next team. So, like, that's not going to happen again. And the thing is, the Rockets played almost a perfect game. Can you imagine all 3 of the Warriors guys not shooting well and it's just a no, because we know from the past that it just doesn't happen.
Right.
So I agree with you. I mean, I like the Warriors.
Unless Steph is really hurt.
Right. Well, the injury concern we really need to be talking about is Chris Paul, because at the end of that game, he had his Achilles wrapped up and he was hobbling around in the fourth quarter. Luckily, the Rockets were up like 18, so they could take him out. If he can't go, or if he's limited, I just don't think they have a chance. Like, they need him to be out there and be giving maximum effort like he did in game 2, or else they can't possibly win a series.
The difference there between Curry and Paul is that Paul can even with that injury, if he's able to get on the floor, he is able to control the pace of it. He would be able to control the pace of that game because he's not reliant on scoring to contribute to the game.
Right.
He's not solely reliant on his offense. Whereas I don't want to say Steph is solely reliant on his offense, but he's an offensive juggernaut.
No, he is.
So if he's injured to the point where he's not able to play to his full capability, it's going to affect him a lot more than it would Chris Paul.
Totally agree. So, he's not a factor. And what you see with him, right, and actually the commentators mentioned it during the game, is he got most of his points through layups. And that's odd for Steph because he wasn't shooting well. But even him getting to the cup, he doesn't get to the cup as effectively if he can't make his jump shots, because then guys can play off of him and let him shoot that crazy 35-foot rainbow that usually he makes. But if he's not making it, why am I going to come out there and guard you and let you go by me? So, yeah, he's going to have to turn it around. I did want to give another shout out to Eric Gordon, because he played lights out in game 2. He looked really good. He's a good player. They got a lot of guys.
It's hard to not be a good player when you're getting open looks. Like that.
And he was beating guys off the dribble. He looked really good. I was surprised. Klay Thompson's a good defender, and I saw Eric Gordon break him down one time.
Yeah, Thompson had an off night.
He did.
A lot of their guys had an off night, but like we said, I don't think that we see that happening 2 times in a row.
And if you think about it, right, in the pantheon of the series, if you're Golden State, you came out in Houston and won game 1, you can afford to lose game 2.
Exactly. That's actually what my buddy Matty O'Hara just said. He said the Warriors accomplished what they needed to. They won a game on the road. Right.
Good call, Matty.
And that's all you have to do.
That's it. They went out, they got game 1, they're happy. They come out game 2, they come out shooting flat. That deflates them quick, and they go, okay, well, whatever. We'll go back to Golden State up.
Now, if Houston goes on the road and they take a game out there,
then a real series.
It's a series, and it's gonna, like I said, it's going to be tough. I don't think they can keep up what they did the other night. I think it's going to be some close games, but I just think the Warriors have too much firepower.
I totally agree.
And if Steph is indeed healthy, they just have too much.
I'm telling you right now, the Warriors are the best team I've ever seen. They're the best team I've ever seen. Never seen a team like this before.
Yeah, dynasty, man.
Yep.
Until the Sixers in the next couple of years.
Let's talk NHL playoffs. But before we do, I wanted to bring up a note about something that's been really important in the NBA playoffs, and that's been home court advantage.
Yes.
Home court advantage has been extremely important. There's only been one team that didn't have home court advantage that advanced. Do you remember who that was?
Hold on a sec. Let me go through. Oh, shoot.
I'll give you a hint.
Is it West Coast? Oh, the Pelicans. Come on, Pelicans.
Right, the Pelicans, because they swept the Blazers. Now, before you jump in front of me and go, oh, well, because obviously all the higher seeds advance because they have home court. That's true. But if you look at the games won.
Will says Utah.
Utah was the 4 seed, no? Or the 5? Was OKC the 4?
OKC was the higher seed, I think.
Okay. That could be the other one then. Then there was 2.
I think so. We'll have to look that up.
Check it. He could be right. But the thing is, all the games are won. It's been at a 70% clip. Home teams winning on their own floor.
Yep.
Flip that to the NHL playoffs, right? The series we have right now, the Caps Lightning is 2-2. Lightning won last night. All 4 games have been won by the road team in that series. How crazy is that?
It is crazy, but on its face, it looks like the same type sport, like a flow sport where there's a lot of up and back. But basketball is a much more momentum-driven game because you're putting the ball in the bucket, however many times, 60 times a night. You're scoring points, whereas in hockey, you only get like 2-3 goals a night to have the crowd really play that kind of factor.
Oh, I agree with you, and I've always said that I feel like basketball is so much more
of a home field advantage than hockey is. Although, an interesting thing about the series is you have to look at the places now, because Tampa is infamous for that shitty ice, right?
Yeah, the soup ice.
Yeah, so that can play into it, except they've lost both games at home in that series, so that didn't help them with people coming there. I mean, for years, people have complained about having to play playoffs in Tampa because it's May and it's warm and the ice is soup and it sucks.
Which is interesting. So how has the ice been in Vegas?
That's a good question. You know, I haven't heard any complaints about the ice in Vegas, but I think to the same point, Vegas,
it's a dry ice.
Yeah, yeah. They've got all these golden plates and money stacks underneath the ice to keep it nice and cold. I think Vegas is such a newer facility and all that stuff. Tampa is kind of like, right? I mean, it's Tampa.
Yeah.
I barely remember they have a team, except the Lightning are always good for some reason. I don't understand why.
Good management.
Yeah. So that series is 2-2.
Stamkos.
One thing I wanted to mention, I'll have to eat crow, because I didn't think that the Caps could get through the Penguins, and they did. Surprisingly, right? Alex the Great finally gets through to the next round. So I'm actually happy for him. I'm tired of seeing the Penguins win. I respect them, but I still hate them. So I'm glad that the Capitals beat them. So that was nice to see them move on. And this has been a great series. The last two games have been right down to the wire. Very fun to watch. Playoff hockey is incredible. We'll see what happens there.
So as unexciting as these playoffs have been, there are some storylines that are going on in hockey right now. The first with Ovechkin being very close to the finals. I don't think he's ever been there before. Has he ever been to the finals before?
No, he hasn't.
So he's never been to the finals before. And now we have a first-time team, the first-year expansion team who is on the verge of getting into the finals. And I have to ask you, is it good for hockey? Is it bad for hockey?
I think it's great.
What say you?
I think it's great for hockey. One, I think the Las Vegas movement was great. I think it's great for all leagues. I know it sucks that the Raiders are moving to Oakland. They're leaving Oakland, right? It sucks for Oakland. But I think the team moving to Vegas is great. I love that the Golden Knights have had such a good year. I've sort of talked about them whenever I had a chance.
And so Matt wants to explain how an expansion team can be the best team in hockey. And it wouldn't happen like that in any other sport. So for me, you know, I played hockey. I haven't played for the last year and a half, 2 years, but I played ice hockey. And it's like a very team-centric game where you can get together with a group of guys, and you don't have to necessarily be the fastest, strongest guys. But if you can move the puck, and it really is a team game where if you have a good feel with somebody, if you have a solid line, guys that know where you're at all times, it makes it easier. It actually opens up the ice where if you know where everybody's at all times, you can kind of think 2 steps ahead. So I think that's what you're seeing in the Golden Knights.
I agree. And so the point I want to bring up too with hockey, right? And this is the difference. This is why you can do this, right? Because in hockey, you have 20 guys. You have 4 lines, right? 18, 20 guys on these rotations. And the ice time per game, what's your average star get in an NHL game ice time? Maybe 20, 23 minutes?
I don't think it's that much.
Right. But in the NBA, your stars are getting in a 48-minute game, 47 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So when you look at the translation to sports, baseball and hockey are the two where not necessarily the best player or even best players, 1 or 2 on a team, get you a win because you need a bunch of different guys. You know, baseball, you need pitching. Hockey, you need goaltending. You need a bunch of different guys to contribute. And hockey is such a momentum game. Isn't it such a momentum game? So I'll give you an example. The Flyers were beat the Penguins at one game, and they had, I think, a third of the shots total on goal, but they made 3 of them. And the Penguins are just peppering the goal, but the goalie is standing on his head, as they like to say, right?
Yeah, and
that's actually everything.
That's something that Dave mentions on here is that the goalie plays a big part in that.
Yes,
and Fleury is playing unreal right now. It's interesting how they selected the team and how they put the team together. So,
well, do you know how the expansion draft works?
I believe I do. So each team has 8 players that are protected.
Correct.
That you cannot select.
Peck off.
So there's probably some salary issues involved, but teams probably look at some guys that are aging or getting older, and they may not want to re-sign or have their contract. You know, there's some contract aspect to it that's interesting, but I don't know all the details as far as that goes. So from the Golden Knights perspective, what they're probably looking for, or what you would think that they would be looking for, is a group of young guys that they can get together so that they're not necessarily developed players just yet. So if you're a team, you're going to protect your young potential stars, and you're going to protect your actual stars. Some of the other guys you're going to leave sit out there, maybe guys that have been around the league on a number of different teams, veterans.
Journeyman.
So from
star.
the Golden Knights perspective, you would think that they would go in trying to find the youngest and the best prospects and kind of build a team. I think what they did was say, "Yo, let's like try to win right now. Let's go get the best players that we can get right now. They came into this draft and go put together a team that can win this year."
They looked around at everybody available and said, "We're not building for the future. We're going to take the best players right now. We're going to take guys who are hungry, right?" And you think about it this way, and the Knights have talked about this. They sort of feel like a bunch of castaways because they came from teams they got pecked away where they weren't protected, right? So the teams put them up on the block.
The one that Dave mentions right here, James Neal, he's playing out of his mind.
Yeah.
And he's been to a couple different teams, and he's not really stuck anywhere.
Right.
He was one of those guys that was he was supposed to be an up and coming star.
Right.
And when he was with the Penguins, he was playing. He was
playing well.
He was one of their studs. I think they won a cup or two with him on the team.
He's playing well.
So he's a veteran guy that's been there, that knows how to lead, or at least has seen how to lead. Yep. And maybe he's jumping in.
And you know what that does? Think about it like this, right? You're on a team and you're a kid, or you don't get picked or something, or you get drafted late, right? Puts a chip on your shoulder, right?
I don't know what that's like.
You don't know that's like you always get picked?
First.
Yeah. That's right. Former Norristown MVP here, folks. So, but that's what happens, and you get a chip on these guys' shoulders, and they're like, well, all of our respective teams didn't think highly of us enough to protect us, so we're going to come out and, as they say in Major League, win the whole fucking thing.
Easy. Family show.
Bleep, sorry.
Come on, man. Got friends and family on here.
That's all right.
All right, yeah, so I would actually really like to see them win the whole thing. I would like to see them and the Capitals, obviously. The other teams, who else is even in it?
The Lightning and the Jets.
The Lightning
and
the Jets.
In the West, yeah.
The Lightning's decent. I like Stamkos.
I hate the Lightning.
I'm going to be honest, I haven't watched a whole lot of it. I check in on it, but there's nothing that draws me in. Tampa and Winnipeg don't really draw me in.
You're not supposed to say that, man.
I'm sorry.
I love playoff hockey. I mean, I'm not a religious watcher, but I do watch a lot of it because I love playoff hockey. I used to a lot when I was still playing, and obviously I check in on the Flyers all the time. Yeah. I'll tell you, I hate the Lightning, and it's a long-standing hatred because
where does it start?
They spoiled the Flyers run. Remember that 8 or 9 years ago?
Vincent Lecavalier.
Vinny Lecavalier and Martin St. Louis.
Oh,
yeah, dude.
He was a stud.
They spoiled the Flyers in the Eastern Conference Finals, and I have hated them ever since. I hate them so much. The Flyers came out of nowhere that year, and I remember I was in North Carolina, I think Outer Banks, watching that about 10 years ago. I'm missing the dates. If anybody's on here, check that for me. And I think it was game 6 or 7 that the Lightning knocked us out, and I hated them ever since.
That's 2 Hall of Famers right there.
They're great. They had another guy, too. Who was their third guy?
Oh,
it was Lecavalier, St. Louis, and they had somebody else. It was their big 3.
Do you know who it is?
No, I'm trying to remember. That's why I'm asking you.
No, I can't
remember off the top of my head. Does anybody remember?
As soon as you Dave, if you know it, send it.
Who was it? It was Martin St. Louis.
Yeah, he was.
What did he say? What did he say? 2008 or 2004?
2004.
Yeah, that's what it was. So wow, that was about 14 years ago. Yeah, I've hated the Lightning ever since. Their stupid logo, I hate them so much.
Yeah,
I was so yoked on the Flyers that year. God, I hate them so much.
Well, somebody check in with the name of the last guy on the third line. As soon as you say it, it's gonna.
I know.
It's gonna
Me
pop
too.
in
It's
my
gonna.
head.
I can. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's like wants to click. But
yeah.
We'll keep going and send that out for us, guys. So Nick, you're gonna be excited. We're gonna do some baseball talk. You ready for baseball talk? So I mentioned this when we first started about baseball talk. I was counting up the games. The Phillies are 26-16 now, actually, which is good. But they're 2 games away from the quarter mark of the season. And I think it's a good spot to take a look at where teams stand at the quarter mark. Obviously, the baseball season is a freaking grind, right? I mean, it's 162 games. It's 6.5 months. It's a long season. But a third of the way, you'd rather be in second and fifth or, first and fourth. So where I wanted to start before we got into all the teams, though, is the Robinson Cano thing.
Yeah, it's really I don't know if you can call it a shame. It sucks. It sucks that a guy that he's a Hall of Fame player,
8-time All-Star,
is now going to be eternally linked with steroids, and his entire career is going to be looked back at, and everybody's going to ask the question, kind of knowing the answer, how he's sustained this greatness for so long. And just another one bites the dust, man. It's really sad.
It is. And there's 2 things I wanted to talk about with
Brad Richards.
That's it.
Brad Richards. So, all right, sorry. We're back to hockey. Let's jump back to baseball.
Brad Richards.
All right.
Good call. So here we go. 2 things I want to talk about with Robinson Cano.
Go ahead.
The first is how it went down and why this bothers me so much. Do you know the actual story, or am I going to be like, did you read into it? Because I read a lot into it.
He broke his wrist or something like that.
Well, yeah, that stuff I don't care about what he took and why and how he got caught.
Lasix.
So he took formaldehyde, which is a masking agent.
Sounds
It's
terrible.
a water retention. It's for water retention. It's a
Right.
masking agent.
Right.
But
And then Lasix flushes you.
right. And what happens is he this happened in the offseason. He tested positive in the offseason. Okay. So he's known about this, but he appealed. And baseball won't go public with any of this stuff. Well,
Which they shouldn't.
right. But
I don't think they should.
What happened is he also failed one prior to this, and he was tested for a PED, an actual a PED that was clear that this was used as a masking agent. And so
it's interesting you call it a PED.
Yeah,
a PED.
PED. They brought it to him and said, "Look, we got you twice. This isn't your first.
Right.
The one that we're going to nip you for is this.
Right.
So, but if you don't turn down your appeal, we're going to release all this, and you're going to get linked to whatever steroidal cream treatment, whatever is going on with you."
Okay.
So
I didn't know all that back.
So he conceded and just said, "Oh, okay, I guess I'm going to have to take my 80-game, $14 million cut."
So you look back at let's look back at 2009 when they were with Andy Pettitte and A-Rod and now Cano and who else? There was probably a number of others that were linked to steroids on that team.
Yep.
And you look at the Phillies season that year, and they lost to the Yankees in the World
The
Series.
steroid Yankees.
Man,
Mhm.
what could have been?
You know what even bugs me more about that? Speaking of a guy who was on that team, old Tex. I love Mark Teixeira in the media, by the way. He is really good. He came out afterwards and he said, first thing he said when they asked him about it, I'm not surprised. He goes, look, I'm going to be fair. I played with Robbie for a long time. I like him a lot. He's a friend of mine. But we see him walking around the clubhouse, yoked. You see his best friend or his trainer was linked to one of these Balco type places. It's not the Balco, but it's a newer type of Balco. I forget the name. And it's like, when you see guys, right? I actually put on my Facebook page the Vice thing about the steroid use right after this came out. You see these guys walking around the gym, or you see them walking around your clubhouse. You know who's on and who's not. Right?
I have a problem with that. I have a problem with Teixeira coming out now and saying, "No, I'm not surprised." I could have made this prediction. I see the guys who he's hanging around in the clubhouse. I see who he's hanging with and what he's doing and how he's hitting the ball and stuff like that. Well, then, why don't you talk to the guy? Like, you're the leader on that team. You're one of the vets on that team. Why don't you talk to the guy and pull him away from that side of things? Like, dude, you have like this Hall of Fame career going. Why don't you not screw it up? And now he's going to come out 10 years, 15 years later, or however long it's been, and he's going to say, "Oh, yeah, I knew that was going on." Well, if you knew it was going on, why didn't you do something about it?
I don't have a problem with it because I think at the time he's being a good teammate. But for a guy who was clean his whole career and put up great numbers, right? For a guy who's clean his whole career, he hates that he has to compete against these guys who are artificially enhanced.
But you know what? It's not. You can't say that across the board. You can't say that across the board that everybody's.
Well, you could in baseball 15 years ago.
See, but not 10 years ago. Not in 2009 when people were getting busted already.
No, that was the beginning of the end of it.
So people were getting busted and stuff like that. And I understand you want longevity. You want to get paid. But he's been paid. How much money can you? So now his legacy is going to be tarnished because he wanted to put up another year. Absolutely.
I mean, we're sort of forgetting about that with these guys.
Absolutely, it is.
Aren't we starting to let these guys go?
No, I don't think so.
No.
When you think Ryan Braun, do you think of it? Do you think of all his steroids and stuff like that?
Well, I just think of
when you think of A-Rod, what do you think of?
Oh, he's A-Roid.
When you think of Roger Clemens, what do you think of?
I actually don't with him.
Well, I do.
I don't.
Rafael Palmeiro.
Yeah,
what do you think of?
He's a cheating scumbag.
I mean, Mark McGwire. I can go on. I can go on for like 10
McGwire.
minutes guys.
McGwire, I don't because McGwire hit 50 his rookie year before he was juicing. Like,
how do you know he wasn't juicing? He jumps on a team with Jose Canseco in his first year.
Well, so you know how I know,
and that's why I have so many. I'm gonna go on such a rant about this because I have so many theories on Ricky Henderson, who was on that team as well. And I look at him. He's this skinny little dude, and then all of a sudden he's starting to fill out his uniform and he's popping home runs. But nobody ever talks about Ricky. So I'm making grandiose statements and I'm making total accusations right now. But
where's Cahill? Cahill, are you on here? So Bob has the big conspiracy theory that there is a player in the Hall of Fame who juiced.
It's total, dude. I totally think Ricky Henderson juiced.
Oh yeah.
How could you have to look at everybody on that team? With Jose Canseco starting all this stuff up, he's like the mad scientist, giving all these whatever he's giving out.
Just a bowl in the clubhouse. So whatever you want.
So how can you literally say that Mark McGwire?
I pick and choose.
So what do you think about Bonds?
I think Bonds was the second best player I'd ever seen before he took steroids.
How do you know when he started? When he's
you could tell.
No, you can't.
When he came out,
no, you can't.
When we talk about Bonds, when he came out to spring training that year, I think it was 2006 or 2005, and he had that like halter top dress on, and the dude was busting out with muscles everywhere. And then you go back to when he was drafted, and the dude was skinnier than me. Like, get out of here, bro! Like, come on, it was a joke, absolute joke.
Lenny Dykstra, you could tell.
Yes.
But Barry Bonds was
a monster. He's spilling out of his uniform.
But, it's hard to say when you start. It's hard to say when it started.
Were the size of my thighs.
I don't know how quickly you get that big. I know it happens quickly, but I don't know how quickly it happens.
Well, I mean, his was a progression.
It was, but I'm not going to sit here and say that he wasn't a Hall of Famer before he started taking them, but you just don't know when.
Well, I agree with that. But he's a 500 guy.
So you can seriously say that you don't think of that when you talk about Mark McGwire.
No, I just don't care as much about it with McGwire. Like a guy like Palmeiro or a guy like Sosa never would have got those numbers without it. I still feel like McGwire probably would have hit 500 home runs without it. The dude was a monster when he came to the league. He was just big and country strong.
He was a pitcher.
McGwire?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
He was a pitcher for he went to USC. He was a pitcher.
Not in Major League Baseball.
Not in Major League Baseball, but that's for USC. I think he was a pitcher. He was kind of skinnier. He was like a tall, skinnier guy. He wasn't.
I know. I have his rookie card, dude.
Now look at him.
He was a big. Well, yeah, of course. Obviously, he took it. I'm saying.
I don't know. I don't think you can give it a pass.
I just pick and choose. I have to because it was my childhood, dude. There's only two. I have to, man. There's only two people from that era who came out of it totally unscathed. That's Junior and Frank Thomas, and the rest of them are all scumbag cheaters, right? Name me any other good players from that era other than those two who did not in some way get linked to it. You can't. There's none. Bagwell, Biggio, A-Rod, Juan Gonzalez, Pudge, all of them juiced. Every single one of them. Dude, our childhood was littered with cheaters.
Jeff Blauser.
Yeah, he stunk. Like all of them, dude. Even like those Braves teams. Look up and down that roster. Justice, Juice. Crime Dog linked to Juice. Klesko,
so if you're going to give somebody a pass, then you have to give everybody a pass.
No,
you can't pick and choose.
I can pick and choose.
No, because if you're saying everybody was using them back then and it was across the board fair, it was kind of an open game. If you can use them or you can choose not to. If it's open season and you can make that decision on your own, and you're going to give McGwire a pass for making that decision.
I'm not.
You can't.
I pick and choose.
You can't punish everybody.
This is the house of swags, and this is the King's Palace. And for my baseball, because I grew up in the era of cheaters, I pick and choose. And I'll tell you why else I pick and choose. Because you look at a guy like Sammy Sosa, right, who was a fledgling in the league, awful, could barely make a team. But you know what team drafted him, by the way? You know where he started? I have his rookie card. Trivia. Those pale hosers from the Windy City.
I was going to say
the White Sox.
I didn't say
he started with the White Sox. Drafted by the White Sox. He was horrible, and then all of a sudden he shows up one year, and the dude's yoked out of his mind, smacking 50 home runs.
I haven't looked at his stats.
And you're like, bro, come on, man. Like, come on, dude. That's the kind of stuff that really I hated. And I always hated Sosa. Always did. Always
Will mentions a couple of names that came out unscathed.
All right, what's he got
Tony
for me?
Gwynn?
Okay, I forgot Tony Gwynn. Great call,
and
but
Jim
not
Thome.
Jim Thome. You might think Jim Thome's unscathed.
What?
You might think Jim Thome's unscathed.
God, make an accusation.
Jim Thome was on those Indian teams with Albert Bell, Kenny Lofton, Roberto Alomar, Sandy Alomar, all juicers. And you're telling me that big country Thome wasn't taking it?
I don't know.
You better call somebody, bro.
I don't know. It's the assumptions. I'm making assumptions about Ricky Henderson. You're making assumptions about
Jim Thome. Might be more than an assumption.
And you're giving Mark McGwire a pass.
I'm giving Mark McGwire a pass. I would give Thome a pass too because I think he's big enough. Like Adam Dunn. Big country.
Because they're big enough?
Because they're big enough.
So what steroids does is it's not necessarily about the strength all the time. It's about the longevity. It's about the recovery and longevity.
Both. It's about the strength. Well, for Bonds, for instance, right, it was also about the strength. Because, look, it's not like Bonds couldn't hit home runs without it, but he hit the ball further with steroids, with getting bigger, stronger. I mean, that's just the bottom line. With some of these guys, it's about both. For the pitchers, it's mostly about the longevity and the recovery. But for the hitters, it's about increasing how far you hit the ball as well as the recovery. But, dude, Bonds hit 45 home runs, 50-some home runs before he juiced. But then he starts juicing, he hits 73 because he can hit the ball so much further because he's got 30 more pounds of muscle.
No, I agree with you. He's a Hall of Fame player before he did it. But like I said, you can't you can't put a timetable on it. You can't put a timestamp on it. Like this is when he started, because you'll never know.
No, I agree with that point. It's hard to. It's really
so when
hard
you
to
do get
pinpoint
hit with it, it taints your whole career. It doesn't just taint a part of your career, and that's what I'm saying about Cano is now that it puts a damper on what he's done so far to this point. And it's my point was that you think when you say these certain names, you say Ryan Braun, you say A-Rod, you say now Cano, you're going to immediately, it's going to be the first thing you think of. Manny? And there's always going to be a star next to your name. Manny as well.
Manny.
It's across the board. Anybody that's been called out for it, you're going to.
You know who gets a pass that I think we're leaving off the list who gets a pass?
Who?
Big Papi. You know he was linked in the Mitchell report.
But there's never
we give him a pass for
there's so many names that come out.
He's a guy, right, that we were just talking about with Sosa. He's a guy. What team was Papi on before he was on the Red Sox? There's no trivia for you.
Oh, come on, I know this one. I definitely know this one. He was on the Twins.
That's correct, the Twins.
Yes.
So he was not a good player for the Twins. All of a sudden shows up in Boston, a little beefier, right? A little beefed up, and now he's Big Papi.
There's no test for him.
I'm just saying.
There's no test results.
I agree. Well, there might be. I mean, you don't get mentioned in the Mitchell report for no reason. And every single person that got listed like this was right. So.
Was Piazza in there?
Yeah.
Or Piazza?
Yeah.
He was in the Mitchell report, so he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
There's a number of guys that are questionable that made it. Biggio's Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he was listed. I think he was absolutely juicing.
I don't know if he should have made Hall of Fame. I'm not sure about
second base. That's why you know that.
Well, Jeff Kent's out for some reason
because they hate him because the sports writers vote on it.
It's
and
stupid.
Jeff Kent is by far the all-time leading home run guy at second base.
He's the best offensive second base
ever, but he'll never get in
besides juiced up Brett Boone. Juiced up Brett Boone was really
juiced
good.
up Brett Boone could hit some bombs. Yeah. He was on that Mariners team with A-Royd, wasn't he?
He was. They set a record for wins in a season.
Jay Buhner.
Jay Buhner was on that team. Edgar Martinez.
Yeah.
John Olerud.
So here's a debate for you. Does Edgar Martinez deserve to get into the Hall of Fame? They don't. They have never put a DH in. He's got Hall of Fame numbers, clearly, offensively.
I think Papi's the first DH to go in, and I think Martinez kind of limps in behind him if he's still on the
bench. I don't want to make this assumption because I know Papi has great numbers.
Papi's the best DH of all time.
I think Edgar Martinez is.
No,
Papi probably has better numbers. You're probably right. You're probably right. I don't want to come out without looking at their numbers to make that assertion, but you're probably right. You're probably right. Interesting. All right, interesting stuff. So, yeah, that's the Robinson Cano deal. And then I wanted to talk Phillies. Can we talk some little quick Phillies? You got your Phillies hat on?
Yeah.
Phillies. So, Phillies playing better than I thought.
They're playing better than everybody thought.
Yeah, half game behind the Bravos.
It's a good start. It's a good start to the season. Like you said, it's a long grind. And what I'm interested to see is how the bullpen holds up because we're starting to see some weakness in the bullpen and some of the decisions being made are being questioned.
Yeah.
As to who should be in, it's getting a little bit sloppy in the bullpen, and I think that's so the grind of the Major League Baseball season. That's what needs to hold up.
Is Adam on here?
Adam just commented a while ago saying that you love saying taint. So I don't know who said taint. Maybe.
Taint. So I'm glad that Adam's on here because here comes Big Joe Tracy talk. So I wanted to bring up the bullpen. Prophet's a good straight man as always because what came out yesterday was that they're going to go to closer by committee. Obviously. Hector Neris stinks as a closer, right? So me and the great Big Joe T were talking about this last week at Plymouth, that Neris is a bad closer. And because he doesn't do anything that you want a closer to do. I have 3 categories for what I need a closer to do.
Go for it.
Okay. 1, I need him to throw hard. He doesn't throw hard enough. 2, I need him to throw strikes.
Okay.
Okay. 2. And 3, I need him to throw his off-speed pitch for a strike. And he can't do any of those.
Okay. So here's the good thing about that is we have a closer.
Do we?
We do. His name is Sir Anthony. Have you seen Sir Anthony?
I don't think so.
Sir Anthony does all those things that you just mentioned.
That's what we need.
He's a new guy that just came up. He's been doing like some 7th, 8th inning stuff, I think.
Well, they're going but closer by committee. But first I want to ask you, do you think closer by committee works? Or do you have to have that assigned? No, this is my 8th inning guy. This is my 9th inning guy.
There's not a single person that watches baseball that is more against the closer and the save than I am.
Really?
I think it is the most overrated.
Really?
I think the save is the most overrated stat in sports.
Really?
I really do.
Tell me why.
Because I feel like you come in to get 3 outs, and the evolution of the closer is really, it's a weird thing. So I guess it all started like the closer role was like, I don't know if it started in the 70s or whatever.
It was the late 70s.
Eckersley was like kind of Gossage and guys like that were like the closers. And then there was an evolution where it was like the Mitch Williams of the world, where these guys didn't even throw strikes. They just threw hard and they were wild.
Yeah, they come in through smoke.
But they had no control whatsoever. No. And everything was kind of like, everything was shaky at the end of the game.
Yeah.
I never understood that. Why wouldn't you just have your most consistent guy?
So the crazy thing about the closer in the early 90s, actually, you bring up a great point. In the early 90s, remember, there was a ton of closers. I'm trying to think of guys' names who come in and threw smoke but could not throw strikes. And they'd have like 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. Like the 9th inning would be just a disaster, but they get the close because nobody could hit them because they just threw so hard and wild.
It just always blew my mind that now these guys that are coming in to get these saves, it's like they have to be the guy to get the save, right? Because they're just trying to.
What's the mentality?
They're just trying to build up stats. They're just trying to build up stats and build up, and
like they pay a lot more to pitch in the 9th than they do in the 8th, right?
I get it, but these guys are not like consistent enough.
No. Well, I'll tell you what my problem with Hector Neris is. First off, the guy's afraid of his fastball, and he throws that split. That's the only pitch he throws. And guess what? Let me tell you something about being a closer. The only person that can get away with throwing his split every pitch as a closer is Brad Lidge, and he's the last one that'll ever be able to do it because he had a perfect season. And he was afraid of his fastball, but he could throw that split for a strike. Neris can't throw it for a strike, so he comes in and he throws it like it's coming in as a strike, but people know it's not his fastball, and it breaks off, and they don't swing, and he walks the guy. He walks the first hitter he faces like every game. I'm like, dude, if you're afraid of your fastball, you can't be a closer. I'm sorry.
If you can't get your secondary
and you
pitches
throw for a strike.
over for a strike, then you're toast.
You're toast.
Because then you just sit dead red.
Right.
And
you see that little split 85-mile-an-hour turd. If it's above the strike zone, it's going to drop in, or he throws just like 89 plus fastball, and they're just teeing off on him. So
yeah.
I don't know. I've never been a fan of closer by committee, only because I sort of disagree with you on the setup. I think I like knowing we're going to go 8th, 9th. Look, the Phillies did it with Madsen and Lidge, and they won a World Series. I think your bullpen is very important these days because starting pitching is only going to take you, especially with this guy, right? He's only going to take you to the 6th or 7th, maybe the 5th, because he's analytics pitch count guy. I think your bullpen is extremely important, and I think it's really important to know who your 8th and 9th inning guys are because it's the psyche of a team, right? Like it's important to know, okay, if we can get you to the 8th with a lead, we're going to hold this. That Phillies team had that, right? I mean, when that 2008 Phillies team got to the 8th, you knew they were going to win. Because Madsen was going to come in, close down the 8th, and then Lidge was going to come in, close down 9th.
Yeah, but you need to have somebody to rely on to back your guys up. So you can't just blindly say, this guy's my closer, because if he does go through a struggle midway through the season, then you have to have somebody else that can kind of step in. And I understand that he's trying to massage egos and stuff like that, but yeah, it's kind of like hitting. Like so throughout the year, you're going to go into slumps. You're going to be throwing bad. You're going to have dead arm at some point. I
have to hit you with a joke. So most hitters will go through slumps. Well, you average hitters, not me, of course.
Oh God. So all right. So, but what I was trying to say is, you have to be flexible enough to, if there is a guy going through a slump that's lasting that long, you need to work him back into that role slowly, because eventually he'll come out of that funk or whatever it is that's causing him to give up home runs and stuff like that. But you need to look at it that way, because it is a long season. So you can't just lock down and say, this guy's my closer for the entire season, because if he really stinks or if he's doing that bad, you need to give him some time to step away and kind of find his role again.
Maybe. I just think when I don't
think you just close your eyes and say this guy's a closer for the whole year.
I think the Neris experiment at closer is done. That's my opinion.
Sir Anthony.
He's got the most blown saves in the league already. He's out. Get him out.
I concur. But work him back in. He's got to find a role somehow.
I mean, I think he can maybe pitch in the 7th or 8th, but not the 9th.
Well, it's been a good start for the Phillies, but like I said, I am worried about the bullpen has to hold up, and it's an underrated part of a team. But with the season being 6 months long or however long it is, you need a bullpen that's going to hold up, and you're going to see the teams moving into the playoffs and through the playoffs are going to have
best bullpens. That's how it is every year. It's like
that stayed healthy and have been able to hold up.
It's like defensive efficiency, bro. The best bullpens win championships.
Sir Anthony Dominguez.
That's how it works. Okay.
He's our next closer.
Sir Anthony's his first name?
Yeah.
Like Sir Anthony?
Serant.
I thought you were kidding.
No, I swear.
That's crazy.
You haven't heard of the guy?
No.
He's a good pitcher.
All right.
Are we closing up?
We're closing up, buddy.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Hey.
We appreciate you joining us from the Hill.
A couple of things we wanted to say. We threw this up on Nick's Facebook today, so appreciate everybody that jumped on. Appreciate everybody sharing your comments. Listen, guys, don't forget, if you don't already, please subscribe to our podcast on YouTube and the podcast application. It's free. Doesn't cost you guys anything, but it really helps us out. If you don't know how, ask Nick, ask myself. I'll tell you how to do it. It's really easy. It's really important for us. So please, guys, if you get a chance and you like the content, just give us a subscribe, give us a thumbs up, give us a like. We appreciate all the support.
And we will be looking to start up. We're going to have this discussion. We're going to look to start up a From the Hill Twitter account so that you guys can follow all the From the Hill news. We'll be retweeting all sports news, all pop culture news, everything royal wedding. And, look forward to that.
And if you want your sign on the wall behind us, hit us up. You got a local business? You want to put your sign on the wall behind us, like that good-looking one behind us? Let us know. That's it, guys. For the Prof, Swags, out.
See you.